Hey guys, my name's Llama, and today I wanted to give you 5 good reasons to play Priest in Wrath of the Lich King. Now, if you haven't seen any of the videos in this series yet, I am looking at relatively unconventional reasons to want to play any given class, as opposed to simply just looking at the meters and how well they do with their respective damage and, or in this case, healing. Because that's quite boring, and quite frankly anyone can look up those meters and simply just decide for themselves based off what's the most represented colour on a graph. So instead, in this video, I'm going to be looking at 5 slightly less conventional but very important reasons as to why somebody might want to play any given class. So let's dive into it with the Priest, and in at number 5. So at number 5, we're going to talk about the playstyle of the Priest and how it is capable of being both a lot of fun, yet not incredibly complicated. So if you're looking like you want to be a team player and you want to take up one of those healing roles that your guild needs, and you're a little bit worried because you've never done it before, Priest is the way to go. You have a button for everything, but all of your buttons are super easy to understand. You need a heal over time, you've got Renew. You need a simple burst heal, you've got Flash Heal. And none of these things work in incredibly complicated ways with having to only use them in certain orders and things. You simply just have a spell for every occasion. You use it and it feels great. There is no bad button on a Priest's spell kit, and that is something that I think is very helpful. And that also is aided more by the fact that there is not only not a bad button, but there is also a button for everything. There is very few things that you're going to want to be able to do that you can't do when healing as a Priest. Next up, we're going to continue with our theme about how it feels to play and discuss the fact that it is the one that feels the most like a healer. Now, that is a strange thing to say, but let me elaborate. A lot of the healing classes feel like they are designed to be somewhat hybrid, so you're meant to be doing some DPS during the time that you're playing it, or simply while you are healing people, it feels almost as though it's not what you're meant to be doing, whereas with a Priest, you know what you're there to do. You have shiny white light that appears out of nowhere that makes everybody feel better. And all that really does is it just adds a bit to how it feels to play a class. You know that you're playing a Priest when you're playing that Priest. Things are going to take damage and you're going to make them feel better. Every ability that you have feels very impactful, and it feels solitarily purposed to improving the standard of your team's health. And that is, for a lot of people, something that feels really good about a class, when its class identity is very easy to understand and you know exactly what you're getting into, which is why I've put it in here at number 4. Now, in at number 3, we're going to talk about an ability that is now going to be accessible to all Priests, which is going to be Hymn of Hope. Now, Hymn of Hope's been in the game before, but at Wrath of the Lich King, it's going to be made baseline for any and all Priests, regardless of their talent spec and or race. And this is truly fantastic because it adds a utility ability that is going to make it more likely that you're going to be selected to go into raids, as Hymn of Hope is a channeled ability that is going to return mana to you and your allies. This is something that's incredibly helpful if you think of the amount of people that shout out for innovates during your raids. Imagine that, but on a smaller scale, but to more people. This is something that gives Priest a lot of value, and it also enables up the new tactical approaches to certain boss fights, which means for a lot more fun when playing your game, as well as also the capacity to have a little bit more success comparative to if you were playing another class. Now, in at number 2, we do actually have a little bit of a confession here, and that is that I have put that dual spec simply means more to a 2-role class than it does to anything else. Now, if you haven't already seen my warrior video, I will elaborate a little bit here, because in that video I actually named this exact same thing as the number 1 reason to play a warrior. And this could also be true of the Priest. If you want to see this as the number 1 reason, I would completely understand. But in essence, what I mean by all of this is that a class that is singularly rolled, i.e. DPS only, dual spec is maybe helpful for specific fights or having a gold farming spec or a PvP spec, and it is a nice thing to have, but it's ultimately not as impactful as it is to characters that were designed with 2 primary roles. Characters that have 3 roles, so the ones that can do the tanking, the healing, and the DPS, possibly even multiple ways of doing DPS, don't benefit from dual spec the same way that they would if it was, say, triple or quad spec. However, classes with 2 roles like the warrior and of course the priest that we're talking about today benefit a great deal from dual spec because you can simply have 1 spec for one role and 1 spec for the other, meaning you are never really limited by your choices and you are able to play a priest and not play a holy priest or a shadow priest. This means that when you are playing your character, you can really play it to the fullest, enjoy every aspect of it, and be able to fulfill any role that your class is capable of fulfilling in any given type of gameplay. I think this opens up a whole new world of playing your character, and as for that reason, I am putting it in at number 2. Easily could have been number 1 if it weren't for what I've elected to put there instead. But in at number 1, we are going to talk about Valanya, Hammer of the Ancient Kings. Now, this is the first legendary that is being put into WoW for healers specifically. And it is absolutely fantastic. Yes, those of you who are watching are already looking at that comment section wanting to let me know. I know that priests are not the ones who benefit the best from Valanya. They don't have the best scaling with it. However, it is still truly a fantastic option for them. And it is also something that is going to feature on every one of these lists for any class that can heal in some way, shape or form. I'm not guaranteed it'll be number 1, but it's something that is worth considering for why you might want to play a priest. A lot of people like to have legendary items, and because of the others that are present in Wrath of the Lich King, this one's often overlooked. It is an incredibly powerful item. I will put it up on the screen for you to be able to read for yourself by this point. But when you look at this item, you will see not only just how powerful it is, but also just how fun it would be to have this item when you are playing and healing, and also be able to get an item that is so iconically from one of the most popular raids in the game in the form of Ulduar, and be able to know that you were the guy who healed that incredible dungeon and got all the way through to the end with your guild and have this to say that you achieved from there. This is a massive reason as to why I'm looking to play a class that can heal. I haven't yet settled on priest myself, but it's looking very likely that it could be. And that is why I'm picking it at the number 1 spot, because it is probably my number 1 reason for wanting to heal in Wrath of the Lich King. But that's going to about wrap it up for today's video, guys. I do hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do let me know down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.